Hi, today we're looking at Functional Skills Maths Level 2. We've got the Training Qualifications UK exam board. This is examination paper 2 and we're going to start with the non-calculator section. Question 1. Work out 9.028 minus 0.17. So 9.028 minus 0.17. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is put a 0 in here as a placeholder, so I've got something to take away from the 8. So 8 take away 0 is still 8. 2 take away 7, you can't do because 7 is bigger than 2. Now we've got nothing here to use because we've got a 0, so we're going to have to go all the way back to the 9, reduce this by 1, always reduce it by 1, and the 1 goes over here to make that 10. Now we've got something here that we can give to the 10, so we can reduce the 10 by 1 to make it a 9, so to give to the 2, and we can give the 1 to make it 12. So we've now got 12 minus 7, which is 5, 9 minus 1, which is 8, bring down the decimal point, 8 minus 0 is 8. Let's get 8.858. Question 2. Work out 24.108 divided by 4. So we can do this with the bus stop method. Put the 24.108 in the bus stop, 4 on the outside. So we try and put 4 into 2. Well, 4 can't go into 2 because it's bigger than 2. So we say, well, how many times does 4 go into 24? So we've got 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. That's 6 times. Now we try 4 into 1. Well, that doesn't go, so we put a 0 here and bring up the decimal point. But because we haven't used the 1, we can carry it over. So we now say, how many times does 4 go into 10? Well, 4, 8, that's twice. And 9, 10, that's 2 left over. So how many times does 4 go into 28? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 7 times. So we've got an answer of 6.027. Question 3. 50 people are asked what pets they own. The results are shown below. Okay, so we've got 16 people have got a dog and a rabbit, 24 have got a dog and a cat, 2 people have a fish and a rabbit, and 8 people have got a fish and a cat. 1 person is chosen at random. What is the probability that the person chosen has a dog and a cat? Give your answer as a decimal. So first of all, we need to know how many people we've got. Well, they've told us we've got 50. So the bottom of the fraction is going to be the 50. Even though they've said give your answer as a decimal, I'm going to work it out as a fraction first and then convert it into a decimal. Now we want the probability a person has a dog and a cat. Well, dog, these are all these people here, and cat are all those there. So we want this number where they overlap. So we want 24 over 50. Okay, now we want to get this as a decimal. So by turning it into a decimal, really what we want is to have a 100 at the bottom. Then it makes life a lot easier. Well, 50 is half of 100. Or to think in another way, we're doubling the 50 to get to the 100. So we just need to do the same to the numerator, to the top. We need to multiply that by 2 as well. So 24 times 2. 2 4s are 8. 2 2s are 4. So we end up with 48 over 100. 48 over 100 as a decimal. In other words, we're dividing by 100, so we're moving the decimal point 1. 2 times there, so we end up with 0.48. And we can put that in our answer box there. Okay, question 4. The mass of a sphere is 1,800 grams. The volume of the sphere is 450 centimeters cubed. Work out the density of the sphere. So the density, how dense something is how much weight there is per each unit of space. So in other words, what we want is 1,800 divided by 450. Now, we can cancel 0 on both of them. So we've got 100 divided by 45. So I'm going to do some adding. I'm going to do my 45 times table, if you like. So let's try 45 plus 45. So 5 plus 5 is 10. 4 plus 4 plus 1 is 9. So that would be 2 45s, gives us 90. Okay, so we've got 1, 2. We want to get up to 180, so let's try and add another 45 on. So that's going to be our third 45. 0 plus 5 is 5. 9 plus 4 is 13. Okay, we're still not up to 180. So let's try and add another one on. That would be our fourth one. 5 plus 5 is 10. 3 plus 4 is 7. Plus 1 is 8. 1 plus nothing is 1. So we've got up to 180 and we needed 1, 2, 3, 4 45s. So the density is going to be 4 grams, and that's for every centimetre cubed. Question 5. Jessie is the manager of an aquarium. The table below shows how many people visited the aquarium over 3 years. So in 2019, 568,750 people visited. In 2020, 128,528 people visited. In 2021, 482,935 people visited. Jessie thinks that more than, and I'm going to put my commas in here, and the way to do that, if you start at the end and count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So Jessie thinks that more than 1,200,000 people visited the aquarium during the 3 years. Is Jessie correct? So really, what they want us to do is to add up all of these. So we can add these all together. So 0 plus 8 plus 5 is 13. 3 carry the 1. 5 plus 2 is 7. Plus 3 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. Carry 1. 7 plus 5 is 12. Plus 9 is 21. Plus 1 is 22. Carry a 2 this time, and we can bring down our comma. 8 plus 8 is 16. Plus 2 is 18. Plus 2 is 20. 0, carry the 2. 6 plus 2 is 8. Plus 8 is 16. Plus 2 is 18. Also carrying here. 5 plus 1 is 6. Plus 4 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. So we've got 1,180,213. Well, that is less than 1,200,000. So is Jessie correct? No, she thinks it's more than that number, but it's less. So we can put that in here and move on to question 6. Work out 1.324 plus 2.206 plus 14.75. So let's write them out one above the other. Making sure we keep all the decimal points lined up, so that keeps our units lined up, our tenths, our hundredths. And I'm going to put a 0 in there, so we've got a balance on this side. So I've got something to add to. 4 plus 6 plus 0 is 10. 2 plus 5 is 7, plus 1 is 8. I'm actually going to add the 3 and the 7 because I know that makes 10, plus 2 is 12. Bring the decimal point down. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 4 is 7, plus 1 is 8. 1 plus nothing is 1. So we get 18.2 8. And I don't need to put the 0 there because it's after the decimal point, it's right at the end, so we can leave that one out. If you do put the 0, that's fine, but it doesn't need to be there. Question 7. Work out 3/20ths plus 17/15ths. Right, so what we want to get our denominator the same here. Okay, and they've said give your answer as an improper fraction as well. Okay, so, but that's fine. So we want to get a denominator the same. At the moment they're different, so we can't just add them together. We've got to find a number that both 20 and 15 go into. So a common multiple of these. And what we can do, the best way to do it is to take the biggest number, so the 20. Take 20. Well, does 15 go into 20? Well, it does, but it's got some remainder. So let's think, well, what about if we had another 20? So 20 plus 20 would be 40. Does 15 go into 40? Well, you'd have 15, 30, 45. No, so it doesn't fit exactly. What about if we go to the next one in the 20 times table? So 20, 40, 60 would come next. And 15s would have 15, 30, 45, 60. Yeah, so both of these numbers go into 60. So what that means is we can rewrite this as two fractions, both with 60 as the denominator. Now, 20 to the 60, that was 1, 2, 3 times. So we need to multiply the numerator by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Now for the second fraction, from the 15 to 60, remember we said 15, 30, 45, 60, so it's 4 times. Multiply this by 4, so we need to multiply the 17 by 4. So 17 times 4, well, let's start with 4 times 7, 7, 14, 21, 28. 1 times 4 plus 2 is 6. So we've got 68 here. So now, because the denominators are the same, we can just keep that as the answer, the denominator. And now we've got 9 plus 68. So 9 plus 68. 9 plus 8 is 17. 6 plus 1 is 7. So we've got 77 over 60. And they said, give your answer as an improper fraction, which it already is. So we can just put 77 over 60. Okay, question 8. Riley's annual salary is £32,000 before tax. Riley knows that £12,570 will be tax-free, and then 20% tax will be deducted from the amount above £12,570. How much will the annual salary be after tax has been deducted? Okay, so we're going to get this amount of money with no tax, and then they're going to pay 20% of tax on the amount between 12,570 and 32,000. So let's work out what this difference is first of all. So we've got 32,000 minus 12,570. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 7, we can't take 7 away from nothing. Got nothing from here, so we're going to have to reduce the 2 to a 1 to make that a 10. And again, reduce the 10 to a 9. So now we've got 10, take away 7, which gives us 3. 9 minus 5, which is 4. 1 minus 2, can't do because 2 is bigger than 1. So we reduce the 3 to a 2, and we make that 11 minus 2, which is 9. 2 minus 1 is 1. So we've got 19,430. And this is what we're going to be paying 20% tax on. So, right, we want 20% of that. Well, let's work out 10%. of 19,430. Because 10% is nice and easy. You just take a 0 off the end. So we've got 1943, or £1,943. If we want 20%, well, 20 is 2 lots of 10. So we could multiply it by 2, or we could add 1,943. I'm going to multiply it by 2, because I'm doubling it to get from 10 to 20. 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 9 is 18, carry the 1, 2 times 1, or 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So they're going to pay tax of £3,886. So we need to start with the original amount they're getting paid before tax, and then we're going to subtract this 3,886. Okay, so we're going to do 0 minus 6, we can't do. So if you remember with this, when you've got zeros, basically you've got to keep going back until you've got a non-zero number. Reduce it by 1 and give 1 to the 0. Now we've got to keep passing it along, so we can reduce the 10 to a 9, make that a 10. Reduce the 10 to a 9, make that a 10. So now we've got 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus 8 is 1. 9 minus 8 is 1 again. 1 minus 3 we can't do, so make that a 2. We've now got 11 minus 3, which is 8. 2 minus nothing is 2. So we've got a total there, which I'm going to write in my answer box, of £28,114. And that's the end of the non-calculator section. So now we're on to our calculator section. Write this number in words. So before I'm going to even try to read it, I'm going to start from the end and count 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. I know the first bit is thousands. The next bit would be like hundreds of thousands. So in other words, if I've got a comma here, I know I'm going to have thousands. If I've got a second comma, I know I'm going to have millions. If I've got a third comma, I'm going to have billions. So I've got 13 billion, and that's it. Everything else is 0. So it's just going to be 13 billion. Okay. So now we can have a look at question 2. Plot the point 6 minus 3 on this coordinate grid. So the first digit is always the x coordinate. So this is the x, this is the y. So 6 is here. Minus 3, well, minus 3 is down here. So we're going to mark this here. And I'm actually going to write the coordinates there. Question 3. At football training, a footballer has 56 shots at goal and scores 42 times. The football coach thinks that the footballer scored 7/8 of the shots. Has the coach worked out the correct fraction? Okay, so what we can do, rather than working with fractions, what I'm going to do is say, well, he's scoring 42 times out of 56. I'm actually going to work it out as a decimal. So 42 divided by 56 is 0.75. We want to compare that with 7/8. Well, we can just work out 7/8 as a decimal. 7 divided by 8, 0.875. Well, they're not equal. So has the coach worked out the correct fraction? No, because otherwise they should be the same. Question 4. Work out 25 plus 5 times 3 all divided by 10 squared. Right, so it's really important that the order that we do all of this in. Now, we'll do anything in brackets first. Well, all of it is in brackets. So we might as well not have the brackets. They're not actually doing anything here. But because we've got the division sign here, it's almost as if we've got brackets around these separate parts here. So when you've got division, you have to do everything on top separately and everything at the bottom separately. Okay, so we've got our top part here. So we've got 25 plus 5 times 3. Well, the multiplication comes first. So we've got 5 times 3 is 15. So on the top, we're going to have 25 plus 15. And at the bottom, well, squared means times itself. So we've got 10 times 10. Okay, so 15 plus 25 is 40. 10 times 10 is 100. Okay. Now, we can just cancel the zeros, but actually we don't need to. We can just do 40 divided by 100, which gives us 0.4. And they've asked for the answer as a decimal. So there we go. Okay. Question 5. 3,480 people visited a museum in July. 5,150 people visited the same museum in August. Calculate the percentage change in the number of people from July to August. So if we want the percentage change, the first thing we need to work out is the actual change. So the new figure, 5,150 minus 3,480. And that gives us 1,670. Then we need to divide that number by the original number, 3,480. Now to make it a percentage change, we then multiply it by 100. So 1,670 divided by 3,480, multiplied by 100, and we get, well, 47.9885. I'm going to round that to, well, 0.9. That's going to be 48%. And in fact, it's going to be an increase of 48%. It might be obvious, but it's always good to say which way the increase is. Question 6. Leslie is planning a road trip. The scale on the map is 1 to 75,000. So that means every 1 centimetre on the map is 75,000 centimetres in real life. The distance Leslie wants to travel represents 11 centimetres on the map. So that means it's 11 lots of 75,000 centimetres in real life. Leslie calculates this to be 82.5 kilometres. Is Leslie correct? Okay, well, let's start off. So we said we want 11 lots of these, so it's going to be 11 times 75,000. 11 times 75,000. 825, so 825,000, and that's centimetres. We want to get to kilometres, so I'm going to convert it into metres first of all, so I know that there's 100 centimetres in 1 metre. So we're going to divide this by 100. In other words, cross 2 zeros off. And that's going to give me 8250 metres. We want to get to kilometres, so I need to do some more converting. And I know there's 1,000 metres in 1 kilometre. So we want to divide this by 1,000. Now we haven't got 3 zeros to cross off, so instead we think of the invisible decimal point here. We're going to move it 3 times. Once, twice, 3 times. So we end up with 8.25. We don't need the 0 kilometres. Okay, well, Leslie had 82.5 kilometres. Well, that is not equal to 82.5 kilometres. So our answer, we can put no. She's obviously got a converting wrong somewhere. Maybe she's only divided by 100 instead of dividing by 1,000. But even though the digits look similar, we haven't got the decimal point in the same place. So the answer is no. Question 7. Nikki's homemade pillowcases are made using a piece of fabric 2 meters square. Each time a pillowcase is made, 0.135 square meters of fabric is wasted. Nikki wants to estimate what percentage of the total fabric is wasted. Nikki rounds 0.135 to 1 decimal place. Using the rounded value, what percentage should Nikki get? Okay, we want to round this to 1 decimal place first of all. Well, that's 1 decimal place. So we look at the digit after it. If it's less than 5, we round down. In other words, we're just going to keep it as 0.1. If it was 5 or more, we'd increase this to 0.2. Okay, so we've got that approximately equal to 0.1. Okay, now we want to know the percentage of the fabric wasted. She's using a piece of fabric 2 meters square. So basically she's wasting 0.1 out of 2 meters. And to make it a percentage, multiply by 100. So 0.1 divided by 2 times 100. That means our estimate is that she is wasting 5%. Question 8. Charlie wants to put a safety rope around this pond. Okay, and we've got this distance here. I'm assuming it's going through the middle, so this is the diameter we've got here. The distance from side to side going through the centre. Charlie thinks the total length of rope needed will be more than 18.5 metres. Is Charlie correct? Show how you decide and use pi equals 3.14. So we want the length of rope and it's going round the outside. So it's the circumference that we're interested in. And the formula for the circumference, well, there's two. There's 2 pi r, or there's pi d, depending on if you've got the radius or the diameter. Now, we've got the diameter, so we're going to go with this one. Now, they said for pi we can use 3.14. And when you've got a symbol or a letter next to another letter or a number, basically 2 things next to each other, we need to multiply them. So 3.14 times the diameter, which is 5.82. We get 18.2748. Well, that is less than 18.5. Charlie thinks the total length of rope needed will be more than 18.5. No, it's less. So is Charlie correct? No, they're not. Question 9. Harper paid £12,500 into a new savings account 2 years ago. The savings account paid 3% compound interest per year. Harper wants to buy a new car for £18,750. Harper puts all the money in the savings account towards the new car. How much more money is needed to pay for the car? Right, so we've got the original 12,500. We want to increase it by 3%. So we want to multiply it by, so we've got to think if it's 3%, we want to increase it by 3%. So we've got the original 100%. We want to add on another 3%. So we want 103%. Now, if we're going to multiply to get this, then 103% means 103 divided by 100, which is 1.03. So by multiplying this by 1.03, it's going to work out 3% and add it onto the original. Now, we need this to happen for 2 years in a row. So it's going to increase by 3% and then increase by another 3%. So 12,500 times 1.03. That's what it would be worth after 1 year. Multiplied by 1.03. That's what it's worth after 2 years. £13,261.25p. Want to know how much more she needs to pay for the car? So we start with the 18,750, which is the price, and we're going to take off the amount of money that she's already saved. And I'm going to put 0.00, so we've got something to take this away from. 0 take away 5 we can't do, so we're going to go all the way back to the 5, the first non-zero number. Reduce that by 1, make that a 10. And I'm going to keep doing this 9 until we've got a non-zero value here to take the 5 from. So reduce the 10 to a 9. So now we've got 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 2 is 7. Bring down my decimal point. 9 minus 1 is 8. 4 minus 6 we can't do because 6 is bigger than 4. So reduce the 7 by 1 to make it 6. Now we've got 14 minus 6, which is 8. 6 minus 2 is 4. 8 minus 3 is 5. 1 minus 1 is 0. So the amount of money she still needs is £5,488.75. Question 10. Alex needs to know what time to leave home to get to a dentist appointment by 10:40 a.m. Alex can cycle at an average speed of 12 miles per hour. The dental surgery is 15 miles from Alex's house. What is the latest time Alex can leave home to cycle to the appointment? Now you might find it helpful to use this triangle. Now what this triangle does is it relates distance, speed and time. So if you're travelling at a certain speed and you multiply it by the time that you're travelling at it for, if that makes sense, you will get the distance. So speed times time equals distance. What that also means is if you're trying to work out the speed, you need the distance divided by time. Or if you're trying to work out the time, you want distance divided by speed. Okay, so in fact I'll write these on. So that's distance, speed and time. Now what we're trying to do with this one is we've got the speed here, we've got the distance, so we want the time. So we're going to say that time is distance divided by speed. Now we said the distance is 15 miles and the speed is 12 miles per hour. So 15 divided by 12 is 1.25 or 1.25 hours. Okay. Note that isn't 1 hour and 25 minutes, it's 1.25 hours. So if you want to think of it in hours and minutes, well, 1 hour, obviously, and 25, think of it as 0.25 as being a quarter. We want a quarter of an hour, which I'm sure you'll all know is 15 minutes. If you're not sure, think, well, 0.25, there's 60 minutes in an hour, so times it by 60, and you get 15 minutes. Okay, so we've got to work out what time he needs to leave home. So we've got 10:40 and we want to go backwards. So we want to take off 1 hour and 15 minutes. Well, 40 minus 15 is 25 and 10 minus 1 is 9. And it's AM. And that's all we need. They've given us AM as well, so we can just write the time in here. Question 11. Taylor is going to fill a cone with strawberry and vanilla ice cream. Taylor will use strawberry and vanilla in the ratio 2 to 3. So that means every 2 scoops of strawberry ice cream, there's going to be 3 scoops of vanilla. How much of each flavour will Taylor need? Right, so we've got a formula here. We've got use V equals R squared H, where V is the volume of the cone, and R is the radius of the cone, and H is the height of the cone. So what we can do is work out the volume of this, so we know how much ice cream there's going to be in total, and then use this ratio to split it between strawberry and vanilla. Okay, so V equals R squared. Well, R is the radius. The radius is the distance from the centre to the outside. We've got it all the way across, so we want half of that. So we want 5 divided by 2, because that's the diameter we've got at the moment. So 5 divided by 2 is 2.5 centimetres. So R squared, well, R is 2.5. Squared means multiply it by itself, so another 2.5. And then we want to multiply it by H, which is the height. So 2.5 times 2.5 times 12, and we get 75, and that is going to be in centimetres cubed, because that's the volume. Right, so now we've got to think of ratios. So I'm going to draw a quick ratio table here. We've got strawberry, we've got vanilla, and let's have a total column. Every time we've got 2 strawberry, we've got 3 vanilla. If that's all we had, 2 plus 3, we'd have a total of 5. But actually, we've got a total of 75. So how many lots of this row do we need to get down to this row? So let's think backwards. Let's think 75 divided by 5. We've still got the 75 there. Divided by 5, we get 15. So we want to multiply everything on the top row by 15 to get down to the new row. Okay, so 15 times 2 gives us 30 for strawberry. And for vanilla, we've got 3 lots of 15, which is 45. And that's going to be centimetres cubed, but in fact, they've given us the units down here, so we just need to put our 30 and 45 in. Question 12. Jamie needs to cover this cuboid chest in multicoloured stickers for an art project. Okay, so we've got our length, our width, and our height here. The stickers are in the shape of a square with a side length of 8 centimetres. Okay, and because it's a square, if that's 8 centimetres, well then that's going to be 8 centimetres as well. To work out how many stickers are needed, Jamie uses this formula. Total number of stickers equals the total surface area of the chest divided by the area of one sticker. How many stickers does Jamie need? Right, so we've got to work out 2 things. The surface area of this chest and the area of one of these stickers. Right, so I'm going to think of this as, I'm actually going to draw on, make this look 3D. Yeah, so if we do that, hopefully you'll see that we've got two sides. We've got a top and a bottom, and we've got a front and a back. So let's think of them separately. So let's think of the sides, okay? Or like one of these sides. If the height is 56 centimetres, then that's going to be 56 as well. So think of these as, we'll call them sides. So we've got two sides. And the sides are 56 centimetres by 72 centimetres. And we want two of it, so I'll put the two on there as well. So 56 times 72, that's the area of one of the sides, times 2 to get both of them. 8,064 centimetres squared. Okay. So now let's think about the front and the back. So front and back. So the front, well, it's 160 times 56. And because the front and the back are the same, we can multiply it by 2. So 160 times 56 times 2. It's 17,920 centimetres squared. So we've done the sides, front and back. Now we've got the top and the bottom. Or top and base, we can call it. So it's going to be 160 centimetres long. And going back 72 centimetres. And again, because the top and the base are the same, we need to multiply them by 2. So 160 times 72 times 2 gives us 23,040 centimetres squared. Right, so for this figure, we need 8,064 centimetres squared plus 17,920 centimetres squared plus 23,040 centimetres squared. I've already got the 23,040 in there, so I can add 17,920 and 8,064, which gives me a total of 49,024. Actually, I'm going to put it here. 49,024. And we need to divide that by the area of one sticker. Well, this is just going to be 8 times 8, which I'm sure you know is 64. So 49,024 divided by 64, we get 766 stickers. Okay, now we're on to question 13. Drew is a gardener. The table shows how much other local gardeners charge per hour. This is 2 people charge between £20 and £30 an hour, 6 people charge between £30 and £40 an hour, 8 gardeners charge between £40 and £50 an hour, and 4 charge between £50 and £60 an hour, and there's 20 gardeners in total. Drew wants to charge an hourly rate equal to the estimated mean amount per hour. How much should Drew charge per hour? Estimated mean amount. Now, the reason it's estimated is because we don't know exactly how much each of these gardeners are charging. We just know that they're within these ranges. So what we're going to do is we're going to assume that they're all in the middle of these ranges. So halfway between 20 and 30, we add the 2 together, 20 plus 30, divided by 2 is 25. So using that logic, you might be able to see, well, halfway between 30 and 40 is going to be 35. If you want to check it, 30 plus 40 divided by 2, 35. Next one, between 40 and 50 is going to be 45, and halfway between 50 and 60 is 55. But as I say, if you're not sure or you're not comfortable with that, add them together divide by 2. So now we've got the midpoint. So this is what we're going to assume the values are. So we don't need this anymore. But if you think, when we're working out the mean is the total divided by the frequency. And the total is always good to think, total what? Well, it's going to be the total amount, the total number of pounds. So we've got to work out what the total amount is. Well, we know that the midpoint is £25, and there's 2 gardeners charging £25. So for this range, we want 2 times 25, £50. Okay, so this is our number of gardeners times our midpoint. Okay, so of the people in this range, the total amount being charged is £50 because there's 2 of them. 2 25s, 50. In fact, I'm going to put this in to help. So if there's 6 gardeners charging £35, that's going to be a total of £210. 8 gardeners charging £45, £360, and 4 gardeners charging £55, £220. So the total will be 220 plus 360 plus 210 plus 50. So the total hourly charge for all 20 gardeners is £840. If we want the mean, we need to divide it by how many we've got, which is 20. So 840 divided by 20, and we get a value of £42. We should be somewhere, well, the lowest is 20, the highest is 60. So the middle would be about 40, but obviously it's not a completely even distribution. So the fact that it's somewhere around 40 looks sensible. Okay. And that's how much Drew should charge. Question 14. Ashley wants to paint the wall shown. So we've got this wall here. Ashley finds this tin of paint online. So tin of paint covers 6.5 metres squared. The actual question is just down a little bit. How many tins of paint will Ashley needs to buy to paint the wall? Okay, let's keep that there. So first thing we want to do is work out what the area of this wall is. Then we can work out how many tins. So I'm going to split it up into a rectangle. They've kind of done it for us, because I know that the area of a rectangle is length times width. So that's going to be nice and easy to do. And I also know the area of a triangle is a half times the base times the height. And we've got our triangle here. In fact, I'm going to draw another sketch so we haven't got this confusing it. The base is going to be this distance, 7.54 metres. And the height, they've shown us there, is 2.8 metres. So, the area of the rectangle, let's deal with this one first of all. Length times width. So 7.54 times 3. We get 22.62 metres squared. Now the triangle, so it's going to be a half times the base, which we said was, oh, I write 7.5, it's actually 7.54. 7.54 times the height. It's just the triangle bit. So that's why it's useful to draw a separate picture here. So it's just the triangle, 2.8. So half, or 1 divided by 2, or you could write 0.5 times 7.54 times 2.8. And we get, that doesn't look right. Oh, maybe, yeah. 10.556. If you're not sure, always do it again to double check. So half times 7.54 times 2.8. Yeah, good. So the total area is going to be those two added together. The 22.62 plus the 10.556, which is 33.176 meters squared. Now, we want to know how many tins, and each tin covers 6.5 meters squared. So we want to divide that by 6.5. We get 5.104 tins, but you're not going to be able to buy 0.104 of a tin, so we're going to need to buy 6 tins, because 5 tins won't be enough. Even if we only need a few drops, we've still got to go into that 6th tin. And question 15. Quinn wants to buy some rope lights to go around a 164-foot section of a garden. Quinn finds these rope lights online. So we've got 5 different rope lights and different costs per metre. Quinn wants to buy rope lights that are 8% longer than the section of the garden. Okay, so 8% longer than 164 feet. Quinn buys the rope lights with the median price. How much will Quinn pay in total? Use 1 foot equals 0.305 metres. So 2 bits. First, well, it doesn't matter which order, but we need to work out the median of these, and we also need to increase the distance by 8%. And then we're going to multiply them together to work out the total cost. Although we're going to have to do some converting first, because these costs are per metre. So let's do the median first. So the median is the middle value. Now that's the middle value working from smallest to largest. So what's the smallest or the cheapest? 0.5, that's the smallest. Then 60p, then 75p, then £1.89, then £1.99. So you can rank them from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then cross off the biggest and the smallest and keep working until we've got one in the middle. But if you think, I'm not actually going to write, like I can write out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if I did that, I'd cross off 1 and 5, cross off 2 and 4, I'd be left with number 3. We know that number 3 is 75p. So I can do that without having to write them all out again. If you want to, if that makes you feel more comfortable, that's absolutely fine. But this is a bit of a shortcut method, just saying we know that's going to be the middle value. We can go straight for that one. So now we've got to work out our distance. So we've got to increase the distance by 8%. We've also got to convert it into metres. It doesn't really matter which one we do first. I think I'll do the 8% first while we've got nice round numbers. So 8% is going to be 8 out of 100 times 164. So we get an extra 13.12 feet. We want to add on the original 164, which gives us a distance of 177.12 feet. We need to get it into metres though. 1 foot is 0.305 metres, so we need to multiply this by 0.305. Now you might find, oh, should I be multiplying, should I be dividing? I think if we've got feet, a foot is less than a metre, because it's only 0.35 metres. So if we're going from feet to metres, if metres are bigger, we should have fewer of them. So I'm expecting my answer to be smaller than the one I start with. So 177.12 times 0.305 gives me 54.0216. So my answer's gone down, which is good. Because we can think, well, if we're multiplying, it's getting bigger. But because we're multiplying by something less than 1, it's actually getting smaller. So we've now got our answer in metres. Now, what we need to do with this one is just multiply it by the cost. And that's multiplying it by 75p per metre. So I'm keeping all the values there, multiply by 0.75, and we get 40.5162. No, I didn't round this to like a whole number of metres because it didn't say you can only buy a metre of rope lights. I'm assuming you can buy it at any measurement because I haven't said you can't, and it doesn't seem unreasonable. But we do want our answer to be in pounds, so we need it to be in 2 decimal places. So 5-1, but the digit after it is a 6. So if it's 5 or more, we need to increase this by 1. So we're actually going to have £40.52. And that's our final cost. So that's the end of the paper. Hope you found it helpful. It's not the easiest paper, but this example, they do like to do similar things. So if you can get to grips with a couple of them, you should find that they're similar the more you do. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so you'll find out when I upload more videos, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.